The fear began not with a body, but with a letter. It arrived in the mailrooms of the San Francisco Chronicle, the San Francisco Examiner, and the Vallejo Times-Herald in August of 1969. The envelopes were plain, the handwriting meticulously crafted, a chilling prelude to the words within. "Dear editor," they began, "I am the killer of the 2 teenagers last December at Lake Herman and the girl last July 4th near the golf course in Vallejo." This was no ordinary confession. It was a taunt, a challenge. The writer, who would soon dub himself Zodiac, wasn't just admitting to murder. He was reveling in it. And with his words came something even more sinister, a coded message, a cipher that, he claimed, held his identity. He warned that if his letter was not printed on the front page, he would go on a kill rampage. The media, caught between public safety and a moral dilemma, published the letters, catapulting this anonymous criminal into a national obsession. The Zodiac Killer was a ghost in the machine, a phantom figure whose true nature was obscured not by shadows, but by puzzles. For decades, his name has been synonymous with America's greatest unsolved mystery. He was a master manipulator, using fear and intrigue as his weapons, turning his heinous crimes into a twisted game. His story is not just about the victims he left behind, but about the ciphers he left for the world to solve. To this day, 2 of his most complex cryptograms remain uncracked, a final, defiant secret he took with him wherever he went. This is the story of the hunt for the Zodiac, a deep dive into the code he left behind, and the enduring enigma of the man who vanished. The Zodiac's reign of terror began in the quiet solitude of Lover's Lane, a place where young couples sought privacy. On December 20th, 1968, 17-year-old David Faraday and 16-year-old Betty Lou Jensen were on their first date, parked on Lake Herman Road in Berryessa, California. A car pulled up and a man stepped out, a .22 caliber semi-automatic pistol in his hand. He forced the teenagers out of their car. David was shot once in the head, and Betty Lou, as she tried to flee, was shot 5 times in the back. They were the first confirmed victims of the Zodiac. The killer, however, remained a phantom. 7 months later, on July 4th, 1969, the terror returned. Michael Mageau, 19, and Darlene Farron, 22, were parked in a similar secluded spot, this time at the Blue Rock Springs golf course in Vallejo. A car approached and parked behind them. Thinking it was a police officer, Darlene rolled down her window. A man with a large flashlight blinded them, then opened fire with a 9mm Luger. Michael was shot in the jaw, neck, and shoulder but miraculously survived. Darlene was not as fortunate. She died on the way to the hospital. A few minutes after the shooting, a chilling phone call was made to the Vallejo Police Department. A male voice, calm and monotone, told the dispatcher, "I want to report a murder, if you will. I was at the Blue Rock Springs golf course, parked a car just as a car pulled up." He then chillingly confessed to the murder and the one the previous year. Before hanging up, the true escalation, however, came with a letter. On August 1st, 1969, a letter was sent to 3 Bay Area newspapers, each containing a third of a 408-symbol cipher. The letter threatened that if the papers did not print the cipher on their front page, he would go on a kill rampage. This was the first time the killer had communicated directly with the press. It was a calculated move, one designed not just to instill fear, but to gain notoriety. That on September 27, 1969, the Zodiac struck again, and his methods became more brutal and personal. Brian Hartnell and Cecilia Shepard were having a picnic at Lake Berryessa in Napa County. A man approached them wearing a black hooded costume, a white crosshairs symbol on the chest. He carried a gun and a knife. He tied them up, stabbed them repeatedly, and then carved a crosshairs symbol into the car door with a black pen. Hartnell survived, but Shepard died 2 days later. He then called the Napa County Sheriff's Office, confessing to the crime and claiming 2 other victims. 2 weeks later. On October 11, 1969, the Zodiac's final confirmed murder occurred. Paul Stein, a 29-year-old San Francisco cab driver, was shot in the head. This crime was different. It took place in a bustling, urban neighborhood, not in a secluded Lover's Lane. The Zodiac's confidence was growing. The killer even tore a piece of Stein's shirt and sent it to the San Francisco Chronicle as proof, along with another taunting letter. These attacks, over a span of less than a year, terrorized Northern California. Each one was a step in the Zodiac's calculated plan to become a legend of fear. The letters and ciphers were not just a way to communicate. They were a game, a way to control the narrative and prove his superiority. The police were left scrambling, and the public was gripped by a fear of the phantom killer who seemed to be everywhere and nowhere at once. The Zodiac's most enduring legacy is not the murders he committed, but the puzzles he left behind. The first cipher, the Z408, was sent to the newspapers in August 1969. It was a complex collection of symbols, letters, and astrological signs. The Zodiac believed it was unsolvable. He was wrong. A high school teacher from Salinas, Donald Hardin, and his wife, Betty, spent a weekend cracking the code. When they finally solved it, the message was less a confession and more a window into a chilling and narcissistic mind. The decoded message began. I like killing people because it is so much fun. It is more fun than killing wild game in the forest because man is the most dangerous animal of all. To kill something gives me the most thrilling experience. It is even better than getting your rocks off with a girl. The best part of it is that when I die, I will be reborn in paradise, sick, and all the people I have killed will become my slaves. I will not give you my name because you will try to slow down or stop my collecting of slaves for my afterlife. Ebi Orietta Meth Piety. The last 18 letters, Ebi Orietta Meth Piety, remain undeciphered, a frustrating final piece of the puzzle. The message was proof of his twisted ideology, his belief that his victims would be his slaves in the afterlife. It was a bizarre and terrifying glimpse into the mind of a killer who believed he was a god. But the Z408 was just the beginning. The Zodiac sent more letters, each one more personal and taunting than the last. He claimed to have killed as many as 37 people, a claim authorities have never been able to verify. He sent a piece of Paul Stein's bloodied shirt to the press, confirming his final confirmed murder. In one letter, he wrote, "I hope you have fun trying to find me. I am not the person you are looking for." Then came the ciphers that truly cemented his legacy as a master cryptologist. The Z340, a 340-character cipher, was sent to the San Francisco Chronicle in November 1969. It was a seemingly random jumble of letters and symbols with no clear pattern. For over 50 years, it stumped the world's most brilliant codebreakers, becoming a holy grail for amateur sleuths and professional cryptologists alike. The FBI, the CIA, and countless private citizens tried to crack it. All to no avail. It was not until December 2020 that a team of 3 international cryptologists, David Orenchak, Sam Blake, and Jarl Van Eyck, finally solved the Z340. The solution was a major breakthrough, a moment of triumph for those who had dedicated their lives to the case. The deciphered message was a rambling, narcissistic rant addressed to the police. It read, "I hope you are having lots of fun in trying to catch me. That wasn't me on the TV show." Which brings up another point. I am not afraid of the gas chamber, because it will send me to paradise, sick, all the sooner. Because I now have enough slaves to work for me where everyone else has nothing, so they are. Afraid of death, I am not afraid because I know that my new life is paradise. Sick, life in my new life. The message was chillingly consistent with the Zodiac's previous writings, reinforcing his delusion of grandeur and his belief in an afterlife as a slave master. But while the Z340 was solved, 2 more ciphers, the Z13 and the Z32, remain uncracked. These are the final secrets, the ultimate test for those who are still obsessed with the case. The Z13, in particular, is believed to hold the Zodiac's name, or at least a clue to his identity. The hunt for the phantom killer continues, not just in the cold case files of the police, but in the digital world of cryptology forums and online communities, where a new generation of sleuths works tirelessly to solve the last of the Zodiac's puzzles. For every unsolved crime, there are suspects, and the Zodiac case is no exception. Over the years, countless individuals have been investigated, but 2 names have risen to the forefront of the public's obsession: Arthur Leigh Allen and Gary Francis Poste. Arthur Leigh Allen, a former elementary school teacher from Vallejo, was a prime suspect from the early days of the investigation. He was an avid chess player, and his love for puzzles and ciphers fit the profile of the killer. He was also a known collector of weapons and had a history of mental instability. In 1974, a man named Donald Cheney, a friend of Allen's, claimed that Allen had confessed to him that he was the Zodiac Killer. Cheney's testimony, combined with Allen's unsettling behavior and his physical resemblance to the police sketch, made him a compelling suspect. However, when investigators found no definitive proof, the case against him stalled. Allen was also cleared by DNA and fingerprint evidence, although some have questioned the validity of these tests due to the time that had passed. Allen's death in 1992 left the case unresolved, but his name remains inextricably linked to the Zodiac legend. More recently, the spotlight has fallen on Gary Francis Poste, a man who died in 2018. A team of cold case investigators known as the Case Breakers publicly named Poste as the Zodiac Killer in 2021. They claimed to have found compelling evidence, including forensic evidence and photographs that they said matched the distinctive scar on the forehead of the police sketch. They also claimed to have found a connection between Poste and the victims. However, the FBI, who had taken over the investigation, publicly stated that Poste was not a suspect. The Case Breakers' claims, while compelling to some, have not been substantiated by law enforcement, and Poste's name remains another tantalizing but unproven lead. The truth is, no one has been definitively identified as the Zodiac Killer. The case has been a cold one for decades, a source of endless speculation and debate. The suspects, the evidence, and the ciphers all lead to dead ends, a testament to the killer's ability to manipulate and evade capture. The enduring mystery of the Zodiac's identity and motives is what keeps the case alive, a chilling reminder that some of the greatest crimes may never be solved. The Zodiac Killer remains one of the most infamous and fascinating figures in criminal history. His story is not just about a series of gruesome murders, but about a phantom who defied capture and control. He was a master of communication, a showman who used letters and codes to create a narrative that continues to captivate the public imagination. His ciphers, in particular, have ensured his immortality. The fact that two of them remain uncracked is a testament to the brilliance and arrogance of their creator. They are a final, defiant secret, a puzzle that still waits to be solved. And as long as they remain, the search will continue. The Zodiac Killer's story is a timeless one. It's a whodunit that has spanned generations, a mystery that continues to draw in amateur sleuths and professional cryptologists alike. The case's lack of closure, coupled with the killer's unique communication methods, sustains perpetual search interest. It's a true crime story that will never lose relevance. The question remains, will the last ciphers ever be solved? Will the Zodiac's identity ever be revealed? The story of the Zodiac Killer is not over. It is a mystery with a final act that has yet to be written. We leave you with the puzzle, the haunting image of the crosshairs, and the chilling promise of a killer who vanished, leaving behind nothing but his twisted games. What is your theory? Do you think the remaining ciphers will ever be solved? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and let's keep the conversation going. If you're fascinated by unsolved coded crimes, make sure to check out our playlist on other unsolved coded crimes, where we deep dive into other cases like the D.B. Cooper and the taunted case. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more deep dives into the world of true crime.